Hey guys, so we're looking at the SAWYER Mini today, and this is one of the most popular filters on trails next to the 0.1, which is the bigger brother of this, and I think that's the original. And yeah, this is a much tinier filter and a lighter filter at that, and also capable of inline filtration, which we'll talk about in a while. This is my filter from my emergency pack. It's actually never been used. I just keep it dry, and just in the event of emergency, water is the most important thing, right? If my memory serves, this was purchased quite a while back anyway. These are shelf stable, so it should last indefinitely. When I bought this, I think it came with just a filter. The Mini comes with a straw, and as always, the gigantic backflush syringe, which we only use at home, most of us. And I think it came with a 1/16-ounce bag, but which I also keep this in my emergency kit just for the heck of it. So anyway, let's talk about the filter itself. The filter is designed to be used as a straw, something like a live straw. You plug this in, and then you drink from a puddle out of here. The filter has male connections on both sides, so you can actually use it as an inline filter or even a gravity filter, which is good. The back flushing, as advised by SAWYER, is the same as always. Gigantic filter, push as hard as you can because their membranes can take the pressure and you will be able to back flush it. The back exit is really, really small, so yeah, you got to put a bit of effort into it. It comes with a cap on one side, but you have to find something on the other side to cap it off. Some people just use a pinched off bit of hose to cap it off so it doesn't leak if they use that. And that's about it. It serves quite well. The 16-ounce bag, quite honestly, is, well, too small. So get yourself a 32-ounce bag, which comes in a box of 3. And I think it's like $12 to $15. Or you could get a 64-ounce bag, which is even bigger, and that's also great. The threading here is a standard 28mm, so that's basically any and every smart water bottle and pop bottle on the market, which is fantastic. So a lot of people just leave it on the bottle and drink from it directly. That's great. One thing, if you saw my previous video about the SAWYER Squeeze 0.1, which allows it to perform an integrity check, is the ability to unscrew it. But this, I've tried turning it. I think I've always wondered why this is so thick, and I think what they have done is an interference fit, and it has to be thick so it can support the pressure that's being imparted on it. An interference fit is basically this inner tube is slightly larger than this outer cap, and so when they press it on, this cap actually expands and it wants to return to its original size, and so it's basically clamping down on the tube, and that would make it next to impossible to open without breaking. So the 0.1 cannot perform an integrity check. Sorry, not the 0.1. The Mini cannot perform an integrity check, but it's, well, it is what it is. It's super tiny, and it's what it is. If you missed it about the washers just use a normal 1-inch washer. And if you write to SAWYER, SAWYER will write back and send you some filters. No, they won't send you filters, they'll send you gaskets or sealing washers. But you can also buy this at a hardware shop. Just food grade silicone will do. To back flush it on trail, you can just use the water bottle with spot cap. So most people carry smart water bottles on trail, which come with a spot cap. If you're not in America, you can get any old spot cap, pop bottle, mineral water, and that fits here. But the thing is, it doesn't fit with like the 0.1, which actually plugs in. This is like that, and you'd actually have to hold it and back flush it manually. It doesn't fit that snugly. So, but it still gets the job done, and you can back flush it like that. Anything else to talk about? I really don't know. SAWYER Mini uses the same membrane filtration technology that the SAWYER the big brother, the 0.1 uses. It's just that there's fewer of these fibers inside, which explains why it clogs up faster. It has a lower flow rate because the net area is smaller, but you gain smaller size and less weight, and that's a trade-off, right? So just like the big brother, it does a filtration of a protozoa of 99.9999%, that's 9 decimals, and for bacteria about 99.9999959 decimals. So that's basically everything. If you look at the bacteria, what bacteria size range is, it's about 0.2 microns to about 8 microns for the majority of them. So for Salmonella, it's 2 to 5 microns, long by about 0.5 to 1.5 microns wide. For Streptococcus, it's about, those are round ovids, so those are like 0.6 to 1 microns in diameter. E. coli is about 1 to 2 microns long with a radius of about half a micron. And for protozoa, that's about 1 to 10 microns length. So Giardia is can be 10 to 20 microns actually, and Cryptosporidium is about 4 to 5 microns. Just rough numbers that just pulled off the web. One thing that this thing can also filter out is leptospirosis. So the leptospires are transmitted via the urine of rodents, and it basically attacks the brain, if I'm not mistaken, and it can be quite devastating. So leptospires are basically a diameter of 0.15 microns and a length of about 10 to 20 microns. So SAWYER advertises itself as absolute hollow fiber. So the absolute hollow fiber definition is rating, meaning 99.9% of the particles larger than the specified micron of 0.1 in this case will be trapped on or within the filter. Nominal on the other hand, which is what I suspect the competitors are using, the Catadine B-freeze and the platypus quick draws and whatnot. A filter rating indicating the approximate size particle, the majority of which will not pass through the filter. So I've seen numbers of filtration rates anything from 60 to 90+% for nominal filtration, as opposed to the absolute of 99.9%. So this would tie into the higher flow rates that we see with the B-free and the quick draw and what have you, if they are using nominal rating. Only SAWYER explicitly mentions it on their website that they are absolute. Everyone else is silent. I did write to them, but I didn't get a response. Anyway, I'm just a guess, and it kind of ties in logically to it. So if you have leptospirosis risk in your area and all that, a 0.1 absolute filtration would filter out leptospires. So I actually feel better now. But the quick draw, on the other hand, would not, because theirs is 0.2 and probably nominal, which makes it even worse. But everything else is more or less covered, I guess, between the two. This thing is rated to 100,000 gallons, which is like nearly 500,000 liters. And honestly speaking, if you take care of it and you can keep it running, you're never going to drink that much water on trail, right? In your entire life. So that's all well and good. The dimensions of this, should I go through it? Let's just get the weight. We all know everything else, right? So I'm curious too. Let's get some weight. This is grams. It says it's 37 grams dry, and if you go to ounces, it's 1.4 ounces. Yeah, that's about it. It's 1.4 ounces, that's exactly right. And it's tiny, it's small. So that's about it. You can't do an integrity check on it. I guess that's the main takeaway on this. There's so many other things about it, but they are reliable filters. You got to backwash them from time to time. If you have an off-season failure, which is basically you've put this filter away for maybe a few months and it's dried out, and when you've started to use it again and you try to push it, it's like pushing against a closed tap. Zero flow or next to zero flow, that means you've got off-season failure. I have another video on that. Just look in my comments below, or if that video has been released, I'll just put a link in the description below. So there are remedies for that, and the filter can be recovered. So If you have off-season failure, fear not, you can recover your filter. So I guess that's about it today, guys, about the SAWYER Mini. And I hope we've had some little bit of extra information versus what we've seen on the web so far. And as always, if you have some information or experience with this, I'm sure a lot of you do, leave your comments in the section below. Love to hear from you. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.